Here doing a live class here. First of many, God willing. And this one here is going to, this class is going to be about gratitude, daily gratitude, learning the secrets of gratitude, halacha of gratitude, the gifts of gratitude. And if you're here on the live stream, you can see here right behind me, Rav Shalom Arush. And we'll be learning his sefer. Hopefully, we'll be going through a few of his sefers here on gratitude. The first one will be the classic Garden of Gratitude here. So I'll be reading along and stopping and giving some thoughts, insights, comments, and hopefully get something good out of it. I'll get something good out of it for sure. And bear in mind that me giving it over is no substitute for you having the book in hand and getting the book and studying the book on your own. So you too can have your own insights and relate it to yourself. But without further ado, Garden of Gratitude by Rav Shalom Arush. A few of the chapters here we'll be going over here are The Path to Redemption, Chapter 1. Chapter 2, Miracles and Wonders. Chapter 3, It's All for the Best. Chapter 4, Thanking Hashem. Chapter 5, The Little Things Count. Chapter 6, Rectifying Our Lives. Chapter 7, Miracle Stories, hearing real miracle stories, real life accounts of what happens when you express gratitude and live your life in that way, right? So, Chapter 8, Overcoming Setbacks, how we get ourselves back up. Chapter 9, Abundant Gratitude, continuing to give gratitude. Chapter 10, The Greatest Giving. Chapter 11, The Basis of Good Character. Chapter 12, Gratitude and Trust. Chapter 13, Redemption, The Easy Way. So, we're going to learn little by little, whatever, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. You know, it says the fool looks at the sea of Torah and looks at the plethora of books and says, wow, what's the point of even starting? Well, I'm never going to get there. I'll never finish anything. But the wise man says, oh, I'm going to turn the page. So whatever, we're going to turn the page, and little by little, we'll get there. All right, so the book is translated by Rev Laser Brody as well. So, Chapter 1, The Path to Redemption. Everyone wants the redemption. Everyone awaits the redemption. Everyone wants to know what he can do to end the long exile and hasten salvation. Much has been said on this topic, but here we will learn the most fundamental cause of this bitter exile. By rectifying it, we can anticipate the imminent arrival of Moshiach. Right, we all want Moshiach. We talk about Moshiach all the time, and of course, who doesn't want that? But what can we do to actually bring Moshiach is the question. And what is holding us back from receiving Moshiach? What can we do in our own lives day after day? Here we are in the 3 weeks between 17th of Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. And we live in a time now where we can really see what it is to have the walls breached, as we had our walls breached here in Israel coming up in a year here, and what it means to be in that middle period where that's where we are, kind of, so to speak. But we have a tradition as well. Mashiach will come on Tisha B'Av. What that means, we don't know yet. Right, but we have that tradition, and God willing, we'll receive that this year, God willing, even before. The Book of Life. To find out what this important cause is and what needs to be rectified, we must reflect on what the Torah says about the first redemption from Egypt. From this prodigious event, we can learn what will bring about the final redemption, which we learn for every day. This is a one way of learning what will be is going back in the Torah and seeing what happened, right? So let's say we encounter a word in the Torah, and we don't know what it means. We want to gain deeper insight, we can go back to the first time that word was expressed, and we can connect the two. Right? There's certain things there, and it's not so simple as that. But that being said, for sure, if we want to see what our redemption will be like today, we can go back and look at the redemption of what it looked like in Egypt, right? So the Torah is neither a history book nor a storybook, God forbid. It's an instruction manual for our lives. Right? Hashem looked in the Torah and He created the world. It's a code book for the world. So it's not just something. It's predicting exactly what's going to happen already. Every single item written in the Torah is there to teach each and every person what Hashem wants from us. Thus, the Torah, the Hebrew root of the word Torah means instruction. The Torah instructs those who learn it and shows them the path they should take. This is why we want to discern what the Torah relates about the Exodus from Egypt and the people of Israel's desert sojourn and eventually entering into the land of Israel. If we draw the proper conclusions, we'll understand what pitfalls to avoid and what we need to amend as we strive for the final redemption. Right? The main thing of the Torah is its instructions. It's meant for us to apply it. Right? Which is why I've been meaning to keep up with Live with the Times. God willing, I'll be coming out of the class here today. First Aliyah, second Aliyah, and then tonight maybe do another live stream for the third Aliyah. I'll come out with another video. But in any case, the whole point is that it's supposed to be practical to us today. It's not something to go and look back and say, oh, this would happen at one time, or to say even, oh, there are a bunch of, it's a mashul, we're supposed to not take it literally, we're supposed to look at it as life lessons to learn from. No, it's literally an instruction for our life, right? It's a manual for our life. Just like when a person buys a car, it comes with an instruction manual. So too, we have an instruction manual here in our life. Hashem gave us an instruction manual. It would be very cruel of a creator to come and put down people. Now, that instruction manual may not agree with what we believe or what society believes, and I'm going to talk about that later on here in the parsha. But if a person gets a Ford and it says that you have to get the oil change after a certain amount of periods, doesn't matter if now we have EVs and people are like, oh, you don't need to do that anymore in the same kind of way. The cars are built different. So what? The way this car needs it. So the manual tells you exactly what it needs. Doesn't matter what a person says. If they disagree or agree with the manual, that's exactly what it needs. So self-pity and complaints. From the very beginning of the redemption process, when Moshe came to free Israel from Egyptian slavery, and throughout the 40 years they were in the desert, until their entry into the land of Israel, the children of Israel complained. Right, this is the whole thing. Moshe Rabbeinu brought them out of Mitzrayim, or hadn't even left yet. Right, they're still slaves, and the children of Israel, they were slaves. They had the slave mentality. Right, they'd been raised in this way, and not only that, but when you have a certain viewpoint on reality, it's hard to break that viewpoint. So if you look at things negatively in the world, and you think, well, of course I look at things negatively. Look at all the things that are happening to me. And we think, well, when something changes, then my viewpoint will change. It's not necessarily true. As you can see here, Moshe was coming and bring miracles, and the children of Israel were still seeing the negative in it. Why? Because they were conditioned already to see the negative. It's very hard to break that condition, to break that mindset. As we say, neurotransmitters that wire together, fire together, right? So from a young age, if you're taught to see the negative in things and say, oh, look at our life, it's so hard, it's so hard. Of course it's hard. If you're a slave, it's hard. But everything stands on its own merit, right? So, of course, when you see things like that, it's hard to break it. But that's why the Sefer comes here, to show us a different kind of way, right? So this behavior resulted in the positive commandment to remember every day how much we infuriated Hashem with our complaints from the very beginning of the redemption in Egypt. I have to remember this, right? Just like it's imperative that we say the Shema, we have the 6 remembrances that we have, right? So it says, remember to not forget all that you angered Hashem, your God, in the desert. The day that you left the land of Egypt until you came to this place, you have been rebels against Hashem. Right? If everything written in the Torah is meant for us, then we too right now are rebelling against Hashem. And we shouldn't look at it as saying somebody else is. Oh, look at those guys. They're rebelling against Hashem. If only everybody would practice Judaism like I do. I'm the person. I'm the perfect person. This is the message that we're sending when we view other people negatively, when we judge other people negatively, their way of practicing. Doesn't matter if they're being more observant, less observant. Somehow, each person feels like they are the most balanced or performing the mitzvahs in the best way possible. Right? But really, I should look as though I'm rebelling against Hashem. How am I rebelling against Hashem? Well, we'll get into that. So Israel's negative character trait of complaining was the main factor that angered Hashem. Angered Hashem. We talk about these different character traits or these different emotions. If Hashem is Hashem, how can you get angry? And if Hashem is benevolent, how can you get angry? Wouldn't everything be love? Right? And that's a very good question. Right? Not to get too deep into it already. But, of course, Hashem, there's Hashem. And then Hashem created the world. Hashem created a simsum, a restriction of himself in order so that there should be an ability, a void, to be able to create something. If Hashem is infinite, there could be nothing else besides Hashem. So, and in that void, that's where Hashem created the world. And then he's creating it at all moments, but it's really Hashem kind of playing a game, so to speak, refracting his light through different sephirot, through different prisms, different ways of looking at it. And the reality that we experience now is kind of that refraction that's come down and solidified itself here in this world. And so Hashem knows that we need certain accountability. He created us with certain character traits and character defects. Some of them are great, some of them we have to work on. And if there's something we have to work on, how's Hashem going to let us know? You know, there's a certain belief when it comes to dog training that only positive reinforcement works. I'm going to get myself in trouble over here, right? But if your dog is jumping on the counter and you're catching him in the act, how are you supposed to tell him not to if you're just going to ignore him, right? So positive reinforcement, people say, just ignore him. Ignore him. He doesn't care if you ignore him or not right now. He's on the counter eating your steak. He doesn't care about if you ignore him or not ignore him. And then later on, maybe if people get mad after the fact. It's not about getting mad. It's about correcting in the moment. And if you're angry, you're missing the point. You just have to correct him, get him down. No, we don't do that, right? But even the word no, what does he know about no? He doesn't know the word no, right? So by bringing him down, physically getting him down, and correcting him, he can know, right? And his point of view, it would seem as though I'm angry, right? He feels bad about it. Is it that he feels bad or that I'm angry? It's possible that I'm not even angry. I just want him to learn from his point of view. He thinks I'm angry and he feels bad about it. So this is the relationship with us and Hashem. Hashem is trying to teach us, trying to bring us to a certain place, and he corrects us. And it's not immediate correction like that, because then that'll take away free will. So we're not dogs. We have free will. Dogs don't have free will in the same kind of way. And we have the ability to remember, right? Dogs can't connect past with present. If something happened in the past, they can't really connect it with what's going on now unless at that moment you correct them while they're doing it, right? If you come home and you soil the carpet, you can't come and correct him then. He won't connect the two. He's just going to say, what's going on over here? You can't rub his nose in it. But with humans, we have the ability to reflect. We have the ability to go and look back and to watch our tape, so to speak, and to see where did I live up to the standards that I can, and where didn't I? And so this is kind of that aspect, right, of angering Hashem. Anyone who carefully reflects on the Torah portions that deal with the redemption from Egypt sees that time and again. The Torah describes the complaints of the people of Israel and all sorts of situations and trials that they endured. And of course, there's trials, there's challenges. So many times the challenges, they come to test us, not to test us whether or not we're going to fail or not fail, we're going to pass the test or fail. That's not what it is. Sometimes we're forced to fail, so to speak. And what's the free choice there if we're forced to fail? It's how do we react to it? Do we react to it by getting upset at ourselves, by getting down on ourselves, by getting mad at Hashem, by getting mad at someone else? Or do we get mad, do we react in a positive way by learning about it, by seeing that it's a good situation for us? And we'll get into that. The first example is from the dawn of the redemption. When Moshe first asked Paro to let the people of Israel out of Egypt, Paro refused and instead intensified his decrees. Immediately, the children of Israel complained against Moshe and Aaron and blamed them for making things worse, saying, accusingly, "May Hashem see you and judge that you have made us abhorrent in the eyes of Paro, in the eyes of his servants, giving a sword in their hands to slay us." From their point of view, what a horrible thing. We have the foresight. We know what's going to happen. We know they're going to get out. For us to look at them and say, "Oh my gosh, why are they complaining all the time? Hashem came to save them." We're not putting ourselves in their situation, right? That's exactly what's happening to us. Hashem is redeeming us, and sometimes the slavery intensifies, the decrees intensify before they get better. And we say, what a horrible situation. I thought we were going in the right direction. Meanwhile, Hashem is like, you are going in the right direction. This is part of it. Not only did they not thank Moshe for his efforts to redeem them and for risking his life going to Paro on their behalf, they blamed him for their intensified slavery. They said, it's your fault, Moshe. Just leave us alone. How dare you? If they would have had some measure of gratitude, they would have appreciated Moshe's efforts and understood it was only natural that Paro would not want to release slaves that worked so well for free. Right? Like I said, we have the gift of foresight. Why? Because we're reading the story, we know what's going to happen. They don't. But Rav Shalom Moshe here right away is saying if they had some measure of gratitude, what was the main thing they lacked? Not that they weren't going through something bad. They were going through something bad, so to speak, right? It didn't feel pleasant to have the decrees intensified. We can't pretend that that's not reality. But the problem is they lack gratitude. They weren't prophets. They couldn't see the good that was coming to them. But yet, they could have had gratitude to say, hey, listen, this guy's putting his neck out there for us. What do we expect is going to happen? And the same thing for us here today, right? Where we're seeing and experiencing horrible situations, personally and nationally. How are we supposed to say, oh, this is good? At least have some gratitude, right? To say, hey, of course, the other side, the Sitra Achra, is not going to let us go easily. Of course, if the redemption's coming, if we know Moshiach's here, of course, the Sitra Achra, the other side, the Yetzer Hara, all these things is going to be holding on for dear life and fighting harder than ever to try and keep us under their control. After all, it's highly unlikely that Paro would simply give in and say to Moshe, fine, yeah, they can go, no problem, right? How would this be? Yeah, you? Oh, yeah, you're the redeemer, right? Yeah, for sure, take them. Who cares? Of course, Paro's angry reaction wasn't necessarily part of the redemption process. So now we already said, hey, there's Hashem's anger, there's Paro's anger. What's the difference between the two? What makes one benevolent, the other one is evil? We view Paro's as evil. He got angry. Over here it said anger Hashem. What's the difference? First and foremost, when we're talking about Hashem, right, we'll get into it more as well, but we're talking about already how with the dog, if I'm the owner and I'm correcting my dog can think I'm angry and I'm not actually angry. Right? My dog can think that I'm angry because I'm correcting him. I'm not actually angry, but my dog still feels bad and he projects that anger onto me. I actually am just trying to help him. Now, there are people who do get angry at the dog. And those are two different kinds of realities. Hashem's anger of wanting to correct us is a lot different than Paro's anger of losing control, not having control, wanting to regain control, and lashing out at us. Right? So the lack of appreciation was in itself the reason for the intensification of the exile. Right? When we are We learn in Garden of Amunah, we're not learning Garden of Amunah. In Garden of Amunah, another book from Rav Shamar, which is actually probably a good thing to learn that one. It's the predecessor to this one. It's the first one I read before I read this. But it talks about that there is no tribulation without transgression. So the fact of the matter is that what's happening to us, and if it's not, then go deeper, and why do bad things happen to good people, and vice versa. It talks about these kind of things. But the fact of the matter is that the lack of appreciation makes it worse, right? So we have an exile already. We have dinim on us. When we are complaining about it, it makes it worse. It intensifies the exile. And we're going to learn about that a little bit more, so we'll just keep going. If the people of Israel had overcome their ingratitude from the start and thanked Hashem, and thanked Moshe instead of complaining, they would immediately have been redeemed. And you got to remember here too as well, right? Rav Shalom Arush here includes many different sources. It's going down, but not pulling things out of thin air and just saying things, right? There's sources to back everything up that he's saying. The fact of the matter is that they had the opportunity to thank Moshe, just to say thank you for trying. Yeah, what do you expect, right? You got somebody and they're going to bat for you. They come with you to the Yisrat Panim or wherever you are, and they come with you, and the person doesn't want to help you, and the person's like, what, are you going to get mad at the person who came to help you? Thanks for trying. It didn't work out. The next example, after a series of awesome plagues, the people of Israel left Mitzrayim by virtue of Hashem's mighty hand, his mighty outstretched hand. When Paro chased them, they complained, are there no graves in Egypt that you took us out in the desert to die? What have you done to us to take us out of Egypt? This is just what we said to you in Egypt. Leave us alone, we will serve Egypt, for it is preferable to us to serve Egypt than to die in the desert. Wow, right? It's so, when we live in a certain lifestyle, it hurts to break it. It hurts even if we're moving up. There's an aspect of self-sabotage. There's an aspect of fear of failure, fear of success. There's an aspect of being comfortable in our position. People who even live in the most horrible conditions. There's been studies done on this. Even people who were raised in good situations and then taken to bad situations, God forbid, they can get used to it. Right now we should hear the news that all hostages have been released immediately. Because they're living a type of life that none of us would ever want to fathom. There's Stockholm Syndrome, where the people come to like the slave drivers, slave owners, come to relate to them, come to depend on them, come to view them as people who are benevolent, helping them in their life. Chaz v'shalom. Say, let us serve Egypt. What's the problem? Why are you trying to make things hard for us? We're used to it. We can understand that the situation was dangerous and frightening. The sea was in front of them and the Egyptians behind them. Right? They were between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. But certainly everything was orchestrated by the Creator. Hashem Yitbarach orchestrates everything. He's a divine director. He puts people in the situations they need. Based on our free will, He can put people together to have the tikkun each and every single one of us need. So Hashem was fully aware of the level of difficulty of this test of faith. It wasn't easy. Understand, they didn't have much practice either. They're in the depths. They were in the minus 49 of Kedusha, of Tuma, of distance from Hashem, and from light, and from holiness. He in His divine wisdom willed that the children of Israel be tested. They had the potential to overcome this test. So it's another thing, right? Hashem never gives somebody a test that they can't pass. Hashem knows exactly what we can get and what we can't get. What we can handle, what we can't handle. So for us to say, oh, Hashem, I can't do this, we can. Anything that's going on with us right now, we can overcome. The difference between successfully withstanding the trial and falling, it was dependent only on their level of gratitude. Very, very, very powerful language. The difference between successfully withstanding the trial and failing, it was dependent only on their level of gratitude. Person's getting mad at the situation they have, they're failing. Gratitude is never the wrong answer. To say thank you, Hashem, is never going to be the wrong answer. You're always going to pass that test. You're always going to pass that test. It gives you strength. A person who is complaining, they become weak. Everything hurts, everything's sore. It's very hard to keep going. When a person expressing gratitude, they have a new outlook on it. They say, oh, listen, this is really good. I'm going to be able to overcome this. And then they have the koach, the strength to move forward and do it. Do they recognize and fully appreciate God's miracles up until them or deny them, God forbid? They had just seen the whole plagues. They've just been taken out of Mitzrayim. They're still complaining. People who think that we need to see miracles in order to prove that God exists. We need to see miracles in order to be happy. We need to see miracles in order to have faith, be believers, or to do simple tasks are wrong, because miracles don't do anything. How many people have seen so many miracles done for them? Right? There's a whole mashal of the guy that's late to his meeting, and he's talking to Hashem. He says, Hashem, please help me to find a parking spot. There's no parking here. Please help me to find a parking spot. Nothing. And then, all right, Hashem, please. You know, he sees that he's going to be late right now. Please, Hashem, if you give me a parking spot, I will put on tefillin this week. Nothing. Fine. Now he sees that he's 5 minutes late, and he's got to get upstairs. They're waiting for him. Big business deals is waiting. All right, fine, Hashem. If you give me a parking spot, I will put on tefillin every day. And then a car starts pulling out, right? And he says, oh, never mind, Hashem, I got it. We got it. Don't worry about it. It's cool. We don't see the miracles that are happening in our lives all the time. We attribute it to coincidence, to nature. Coincidence is an 11-letter word for God. There's no such thing as coincidence. It's Hashem, like in Purim, Hashem's name isn't mentioned, but Hashem's hand is behind everything. Do they recognize and fully appreciate God's miracles up until then, or deny them, God forbid? Gratitude is not contingent on lofty spiritual heights, but rather on something very basic. A decent human being will express gratitude and not forget all the kindness that Hashem performs for him every single day, much less outright miracles. One of the first things we teach our kids is thank you. Toda. Somebody gives you some water. Tati, maim. Okay, here you go. Here's some maim. Toda, Tati. A little kid, a toddler can say toda. And we don't say toda, not for what people do for us, not what Hashem does for us, not what our wife does for us, not what our husband does for us, not what our kids do for us. We're not saying toda at all. Nishmas Kol Chai, we say, even if we were to say thank you for all the myriads and thousands of favors that you do for me at every single moment, at every single time, I still cannot even be one iota of the gratitude that I need to say. Everybody should be saying thank you all the time, much less for outright miracles. A person must never forget a kindness or favor that anyone performed for him. The people of Israel should have remembered the myriad of miracles and wonders that Hashem executed, namely the 10 plagues and everything that followed. They should have recognized and appreciated how tirelessly Moshe worked on their behalf for the exodus from Egypt and subsequent redemption. Moshe, after all, was in danger no less than they were. They would have said to him, Moshe Rabbeinu. They should have said to him, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe, our teacher. Thank you so much for all that you've done for us, but the situation is difficult and frightening. Help us, guide us. This would have been a proper reaction. Thank you, I know you're trying. What am I supposed to do? Be honest with yourself. I'm scared. I don't know what to do here. To react with anger on somebody else is actually the expression of a deeper feeling, emotion that we don't want to acknowledge. So we get mad at somebody else instead of saying, I don't know what to do. I don't have the muscle memory here to get through this. I've never done this before. I'm scared. I don't know what it's going to be. I have anxiety. I have fears. Oh, I need help. Thank you for trying. I don't know what I'm doing. We want to lash out at somebody else and blame them. And this is how we keep ourselves in our situation. We keep ourselves in a situation because we're not using those opportunities to say, Hashem, I need your help. We're blaming someone else. So what are we supposed to do? How's Hashem supposed to elevate us when we're still being stuck in the negativity? How are we supposed to progress to the next level? You have Mario, you're playing on Super Nintendo, and you keep jumping into the pit, and you're mad that you're not passing level. You're mad at the game. How about you climb up and you go up higher and you go over the thing where you're falling in all the time? You keep falling in, falling in, falling in. Of course you're not going to pass a level. Of course you're not going to get to the checkpoint. Go to the flag and write it down. Whee! That's what happens with us. We keep on complaining. We keep on blaming somebody else instead of saying, Hashem, I know you're tricking me. I know this is you. And we missed that opportunity. So instead they complained, proving that they lack basic decency, basic derech eretz, basic skills that a toddler can have. So it was this ingratitude that was their downfall. So we'll stop there. We're here on page 24, Garden of Gratitude. Go and pick one up if you don't have one already, and we'll continue. In case, I really appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share this fun stuff, and we'll keep it going. Appreciate all you.